Welcome to the Women Rising Show. I'm your host, Melissa Groom, and I'm here today with our panel experts, Elaine Massie, Heather Jones, and our special guest today is Julianna J. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hi, Melissa.
Thank you so much for joining us. If you want to just introduce yourself quickly, and then we'll get into today's topic, which is all about family support systems. So over to you, Elena.
Okay, thank you. I'm Elaine Massie. I believe my mission is to awaken global peacemakers from the inside out. And I do this by combining my clinical skills with my mediumship. I'm an empath and I work mostly with empaths, mostly with women. And I believe that the more peaceful we feel on the inside, the more we're going to create that outside.
Lovely. And Heather?
Hi, welcome everybody. I'm Heather Jones, lifestyle coach, educator, behavioural profiler. My mission is to empower everybody to release themselves from their self-imposed prisons, to break through all their limiting beliefs and reignite that spark and find their passion so that they can create a life and live on purpose.
Lovely. And our special guest, Julianna J.
Hi, I'm Julianna J, and I am a divine messenger. And my joy in life is to help people to clear their own path, make sense of their soul story, and fully embody and be that being that they were intended to be. And to do that with love and light in all they do and all they say and all they feel.
Beautiful. Today we're talking about family support systems. Now, Julianna J, I want to start with you first, if I may. For a lot of people, they don't have family. And even if they have family, I know there's people who don't have family support. Or a lot of us feel like the black sheep in the family. I know a lot of people say they feel like the black sheep in the family. They don't feel like they fit in. And sometimes we feel like we're supporting family, but they don't feel supported. So there's a lot of things that can happen with miscommunication, even if we have family. So what are some things that you have experienced maybe in your life or working with clients that you feel can benefit our viewers today in regards to having that support system?
You know, I don't think there has been a more poignant time in life to ask that question, Melissa, because I think we all are being asked to work as a collective and all being asked to work as a universal family. So for many people, there has been times in their life where they felt estranged from the family. And certainly at a soul level, I think that we all feel estranged now and again from the clan, from the tribe, because as we grow and evolve, we change. And sometimes the people who were most in our lives when we were small only know the version of us when we were 7 or 12, or whether we were the oldest or the youngest. And the evolution of the soul is all about finding self. So this time is a very important time because it's bringing to the fore that we are a soul family. And that there are connections, I do believe, sent into our lives, people, pillars, connections to hold us up. And I think this experience of COVID-19 is so different for everybody, because for some people to be working on the front line and their family at the moment is the people, the nurses, the doctors that work around them, because they're the only ones they can interact with, they're the only shoulder they can cry on. That makes sense because they're the only ones going through it, and maybe they can't even hug their own children. For other people, they are feeling the love and feeling that deep connection with parents that they can't visit. And it's raw. I had a beautiful moment this week and a very sad moment in equal measures. One of the people I work with and have been working with for the last year and a half, her daddy died, and she had texted me on Wednesday night, and she had said to me, could I pray for her? That she knew that he was in transition and she couldn't go to the hospital. And the next day they allowed her to go to the windows of the hospital. So she had her last moments at the windows of a hospital with her dad, which must have been just awful. And she sent me the most beautiful message. I'd written a book last year, and when we write a book, we just don't know where this is going to what hands it's going to fall into, and that's the magic of a book. And she said, Julianna, I fell asleep with your book in my hands. It was my comfort. And I woke the next morning with it clasped over my chest. And I could have cried because I knew what she was going through. I knew the loss. And yet I knew deep inside there was a reflection going on with her. She was actually walking her daddy home with all her distance healing, with all her unique, amazing abilities. And then I have been with people this week who have felt that they have always gone down to mums, and they've been mums keeper for a long, long time. Now this is taken from them, and they have time. They've time to reflect on other things. They don't feel burdened. They don't feel the same strain. And then I have watched parents being so upset trying to homeschool children, trying to be the support, becoming the teacher, making the mother out of it, the teacher out of a mother, and finding, maybe the child isn't keeping up with the schoolwork, or is bluffing, or is lying, or is doing things as happens. And so there's all of this peeling back the layers of relationships. And what I have found is some people, as they evolve, find that their tribal family, people who are around them that mirror more their principles, their values, their ideas in life, have come to be very important parts of the jigsaw to keep them going at the moment. And sometimes they feel closer to them than they do to family. And that can make people feel very estranged, because they're thinking, why am I feeling so close to all of these people? Why am I this close to my family? And yet I found some family members have bonded because of that fear for mum and dad, or that fear for uncle or aunt. And I just think we're all walking each other home at the moment. We're all walking through this, and there's a sense of oneness. And yet I can't help but feel the polarity and the duality of that as well, because there's a lot of judgment going on about which family do I belong to. Do I step in and believe the people who are being controversial at the moment, the people who say it's all a conspiracy theory? Do I go that family? do I go along that lines? Or do I actually follow what the government says and become part of that family? So I think there's a lot of division going on in the midst of this amazing oneness. So I think we've never had a time where there was such an applause for people who are serving in their own sweet way. And yet we've never needed as much support. And I think it's a time of great diversity, great growth. And I think some of the things that we're called upon is to know thyself. Who am I? What am I about? What do I think? When it's all stripped away, what do I believe? What is going on that I can accept as support? What's going on that I can't accept because it isn't support? How do I have to find my voice? So this is adding dramatically to that feeling of support, not support. And those who've bended and been the pleasers of this world, the empaths as I am, I'm a proud empath, we've had to look very deeply, and I think this will continue, into, do I need to say something about this? Am I content? Am I happy with this? Is this acceptable to me? And if not, how can I change my thought? Or how can I put boundaries in place that in some way show my worth and allow me and as when I say me, I'm speaking from myself as well as the collective, of being able to be self-full without feeling selfish, and allowing everybody to have a sense of worth, and honoring each other and providing support through our thoughts, through our words, or through our deeds in our own sweet way. I just want to break that down because I think we forget the very present of our presence and what we can do in such sweet ways. So the distance healers among us will send out love and light. The people who can hold us in our hearts, we can really feel that, can feel that love. Those who are beautiful with words are singing free of charge into our homes. There's a guy in Ireland, he's a beautiful guy, beautiful singer. Tommy Fleming is his name, and every day he pulls out in the car with the two dogs, and he sings a song with the backing tracks, and it's gorgeous. And I've seen so many international stars come out and sing from their bedrooms, from their kitchens. I've seen poets write the most beautiful stuff, and the words just speak volumes into our hearts and unite us in what we're going through. And then I've seen people do incredible deeds, cooking for another, dropping over a casserole, dropping over a bunch of flowers, cutting roses from the garden, sending them to another house and just leaving them on the doorstep, asking people what do they need from the shop if they're strong enough to go. There's all ways we can support. And my favorite is, I don't know whether you've heard of this guy in Australia, but there's a Captain Tom in the UK. Has anybody heard of what Captain Tom has done? Captain Tom turned 100 yesterday. And 10 days ago, he decided he was going to walk his Zimmer frame around the nursing home.
Yes.
100 laps and try and raise £1,000 for the frontline staff in the NHS in the UK. And he actually has raised 30 million.
Wow.
Everybody got behind Captain Tom, and this beautiful singer created this #1 hit. And Tom got 140,000 cards delivered to the nursing home yesterday to celebrate. And I just thought, gosh, sometimes we think we need to be on sole purpose since the youngest age, and sometimes we got to wait to 100 to have that glory and validation of what we're doing. And I just think that really it's a time for feeling that camaraderie and offering that support, being there for one another, be it through thought, through word, through deed. We all have something to give to. And it's great to be alive in the midst of it.
That's beautiful, Julianna J. I had goosebumps when you were talking to us, and yes, that beautiful Captain Tom, I absolutely love. A great example of human beings, and as we're talking today about family support systems, I love your spin on this, is that really what can we do to give to others who may not have that support? We don't know that good deed, what it can actually do, how much it can impact on other people just by turning our thoughts from ourselves to, going out there to see how we can support others. So that's beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So Heather.
Yes.
Support systems. What
oh my goodness.
Well, today?
I've got to get myself back on board after Julianna's beautiful presentation. So many valuable gems in there that I took away as well. The support. It's really difficult, and yet I'm sort of, as Julianna was saying, at the moment, everybody is just it's almost like we've all been stripped bare because we're all on the same playing field now. We're all on the same level. No one's sort of being spared. I think in the past, it's always about, sometimes some people have sort of felt that they had it easier than others. But I think everybody at the moment is just being very kind and thoughtful and considerate and supportive. And yet there are still people out there that are don't have family, have lost family, and are sort of not quite sure where they're going. I've had some conversations this week with a few people who they're sort of finding it difficult. Two in particular have both, their children have died in the last couple of years, and they sort of struggling with all the comments from people who are, you know, saying that they can't see their children, they only can talk to them like through social media or on the phone, or when they do get together, there's the distance if they can. And I think at times we kind of forget that there's a lot of people out there that are isolated, and if they've got support groups for themselves, but they don't have children to even talk to on social media or on a phone or through a window, or it's just the other side of looking at it. And maybe as much as it is what we have to do for the moment, it's a lot better than a lot of people have got. And I mean, when people are dying and you can't be with them, I think that's been a big controversy here. I know in Queensland over the last little while, how there is not some way that they can make concessions for one of the family to go and hold the hand of someone who's passing away. To do that through a window, I think is, you know, pretty inhumane, and I can't see why there can't be something that can be done. But look, if we take away all this, and I think we all need to build a support. Not everybody has family again, but there is family out there for us. We've got, we can build relationships. We need to reach out, get rid of the shame of asking for help. I listened to a great podcast this morning talking about people wanting to reach out, and it was sort of likened to the fact that if your car breaks down, do you just leave it? You know, or if you've got some plumbing that needs to be done, do you just leave it? You actually go out and ask someone to help you, but you don't go to an electrician to help you with the plumbing. And they were just sort of comparing all these things, and I think that's what we need to be able to reach out. Don't feel bad or the shaming, because I've said this before, shame loves the shadows. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. But, you know, choose the people that you go to. We're so, again, there's so many areas. The government is doing so much. Every agency is stepping up. And again, help somebody else out and you're helping yourself. I drop notes into letterboxes just to make sure people are doing okay. And I know I'm doing the walking around the neighbourhood, and there's some lovely people in some of the homes that are sitting on their balconies, and you can see they just want you to wave and say hello, and sometimes even stop and chat. There's just so much we can do to support other people. And family, well, as Julianna said, we're all one family. It's a collective at the moment. And yeah, I think we're discovering so much more about ourselves, but so much more about humanity. So yeah, it's an interesting time, and it's like perspective and your belief system, and whether you want to see the best and see what we've got, and rather than focus on what we haven't. And there's so many incredible ways of getting connected these days and having fun, and I'm learning new technology, and you know, it's good fun. So yeah, that's kind of my take on what you can do.
Thank you, Heather. And for our viewers at home, I'd love for you to put in the comments where you're joining us from. And also, if you have got any contacts or suggestions, recommendations for people to reach out for support. I know there's many different areas of support that people need. So if you know of an organisation, or you're part of an organisation that you want to share, please put it in the comments below, because we all need to just share that information so that people can find us and know that there is support out there for them, no matter what situation they're in. So over to Elena.
Thank you. I'm going to build on both of them really, because I come back from a background of clinical social work, and I'm also a clairvoyant medium and a healer. So what I'm very aware of at the moment is some of the people I've been talking to and supporting are not enjoying family support. They're enjoying a frustration and a closing in and a fear because they've experienced so much abuse or trauma in the past, and it's all coming to the surface now to be resolved. And so these people really need an understanding at a much different level to those that are looking at expanding and growth on an energy level. And it's really interesting that, you know, sometimes people look on the surface as though they're smiling and everything's okay, and they're people pleasing to help everybody else, and yet inside there's this other energy that's coming up to be dealt with. And so I'm spending a lot of time talking to people saying, it's okay, that was then, this is now. And on another level, I've got people who are coming up with challenges in the family. I was talking to a client this week who, she has a very codependent father, and he is not coming up and being the support that she needs. And so this is activating her childhood for her. So I'm noticing a lot of this other stuff that's coming to the surface. Whereas on another level, I was talking to someone who I think it was Julianna J, who mentioned about, you know, the homeschooling and what's going on there. And you know, one person said, I'm just not cut out for this. So her sense of inadequacy when really, you know, schooling wasn't what she signed up for. So there's all of these different aspects of things that are coming and bubbling to the surface as all of us are being expected to grow and change in such radically challenging times. I'm also aware that, you know, as an empath myself, and I'm off the chart with many aspects of being an empath, I'm working with highly introverted people or extrovert empaths. Now, I was going to share this morning that it's really valuable to be able to see where you are on that scale, because sometimes it's worth to say, well, am I managing at these levels? For example, I wrote on a piece of paper to remind me, some people really don't want family support right now. They really want this time to just be with themselves, to be with nature. So even there is family support there, they're using this opportunity to go deep inside them. However, there's a point of, in trauma work, we talk about the window of tolerance. So you can tolerate things to a certain extent. So if you're an introvert, you can go into solitude, my goodness, this feels great. However, then it starts moving to loneliness and isolation, and then they actually shut down. So I'm suggesting if this is a pattern that's happening to you, then maybe you can be aware of this level and where your level of contentment is. And on the other extreme, you know, social connection is what we need. Some people don't need as much connection as we assume they do, because they have a higher connection to the spirit world. And I'm certainly one of those. I never feel lonely when I'm on my own, because I have a whole different vibration that I can plug into. So we must learn to not make comparisons to where people are. So are you feeling like you're on this window of tolerance that, oh my goodness, if I don't speak to someone very soon and get the support, I'm going to go crazy? Or do I just want away from everybody else at the moment? And so I'm more suggesting that you could draw a line for yourself and actually see, well, this is my window. This is where I feel comfortable. And when I go over to this side or this side, I'm starting to feel a little bit unbalanced. And check out with the people around you, how they're feeling. You know, yes, we all need the extra support, but just be very sensitive that if you have a sensitive person, a highly sensitive, maybe they don't want as much support as you do because you are an extrovert. Now, having said that, I'm absolutely excited the way people are supporting with groups. And I was Skyping last night to some friends of mine in Austria, and we spoke for 2 hours. It was just the most extraordinary time where we were just reminiscing, and we met through a mediumistic school when I was developing some of my clairvoyance and healing. And it was like magic, because we were just sitting there having a tea together, and we were thousands and thousands of kilometers or miles away from each other. So that's extraordinary. I know someone who's exploring virtual book clubs and meditations, but on the other extreme, I'm also aware that some people need to be tapping into Lifeline, or in the UK, I believe it's the Samaritans, or suicide callbacks. You know, there are a lot of call centers that if you are going through challenges that you need to be aware of. And I would suggest that when you're feeling okay, to just check out these really important emergency services, if just in case you need them for you or someone else at a different time. However, in all of that, you know, I was going through one of my own, I suppose, levels of awakening in the middle of the week, and I could feel the ruffledness coming up. I could feel the bursting happening, and I knew intuitively which member of my soul family I needed to tap into. It wasn't a family, a genetic family member. It was someone I know, and even though she's ruffled me sometimes, I went, I need to speak, I need support from her. And we did a house party. And after there's just this whole process of breathe, Elena, breathe, you can move through this, I popped. And a family member couldn't have given me the support that my soul family member gave me. And so there are lots of considerations that we need to take when we're giving or not giving support. I hope that's helpful.
Thank you so much, Elena. I just want to talk about our family for a minute, because I have seen, not just now, but in general, family doesn't always agree with us. And as we can look at this in two ways, there is a unifying thing happening for a lot of people around the world, but there's a division happening as well. And I know for me, I've tried to be very mindful of being respectful to other people's opinions, whether that's in my family or, you know, my extended family or family and friends, is that I want to just ask people to try not to be in judgment of others, because we all think that we're right and we all want to do the best thing for ourselves and our family. And sometimes I've seen a lot of it on Facebook with people just unfriending each other and all these sorts of things. And even my colleagues, I know that we're always going to have differences in opinions, where some of us may believe in God, some of us believe in spirituality or Buddha or different things like that. So just be mindful that we all have different opinions, different beliefs, and to respect those family members and not just cut them off because they have got a different belief, especially when it comes to things like, you know, whether it's religion or whether it's how they choose to manage their health. I've just seen in my own family, even there's different people addressing what's going on right now, and I just have to know that, you know, I'd like to keep my opinions to myself, because I believe we all have to respect each other's, just beliefs, opinions. But it is a little bit challenging when it comes to health things, with the, you know, debate about immunization and not immunization, and going to school and not going to school. And there's a whole heap of things going on there that that put a lot of extra pressure, I guess, on us. But one thing that I know, even though I've got a big family and I do have a big family support network, my biggest go-to support is Mother Nature. So I know that might be an odd thing to say, but you know, I would go stir crazy if I couldn't get down to the beach and connect and be grounded there. And okay, I can't really have a conversation with Mother Nature, although I'm sure Julianna J might disagree with me on
I would too.
Yeah, so
I think it's very funny.
talk to myself, I do ask for
Mm.
answers, but yeah, just I don't know, just that's my take. I just wanted to say that try not to be judgmental of other family and cut them off, because now more than ever we're under immense pressure, a lot of us, and we're highly sensitive, more emotional than ever, maybe not getting the sleep, you know, so maybe hold back, bite your tongue, and think about what you're going to say before you dive in and react. Maybe just go away and think, how do I need to react? Do I need to respond, or do I just let it be? You know, when people want to voice their opinions or they're doing something, as long as it's not putting you under you know, high risk or something, I think we just have to be respectful of everybody's opinions and beliefs.
Yeah, generosity of spirit.
Yeah,
allowing people to just be who they need to be, and you be who you need to be. Yeah.
It's funny because in all of this, I actually feel like we're coming into a really exciting time. I don't see that the future is a negative future. I think we're just clearing the air, ready for a whole different supportive globe that's unfolding. And I think that's the advantage of the technology. We're realizing we can connect even a wider family. You know, I wouldn't have met some of the people that I'm really enjoying connecting with as a global, as a soul family, had all of this stuff happened. You know, I'm just very, very grateful.
Absolutely. And as Julianna said, like, this is all actually connecting us so much more than what we have been connected before. And as you said, Elaine, with so many more people than what we possibly would have met before.
I feel like the veil has been torn. I feel that the veil of our political systems, our financial systems, our education systems, our churches, everything has been pulled down. And I think that we are in intermission. For a lot of us, it feels like we're on timeout in the naughty step. We don't know what we've done wrong. But I think a lot of us have had a mission. And we're in an intermission on a big pause button. And we're not sure what the next mission will bring. And we cannot perceive of that. And that is a glorious time to sit in soul time and to say, what is it that I need to take out of the suitcase of my life? What have I been hanging on to too long? And I think it's getting extended. It certainly is in Ireland. We have 2 more weeks of it as we are, because there are certain things that haven't come to the surface. So I was a child line counsellor, which is the organisation who helps children in need, from when I was 23. And I'm actually glad I'm not a child line counsellor at the moment, because I would say it's grueling to hear what's going on in homes and the stories of what's going on. I know in the UK, they wanted to keep the schools open longer so children would be fed. Like, how is that a society we want to go back to? How is that okay? So we need to take care of our young, and we need to ensure that the temple that we will build will be a temple that feels like it supports in a structure those who need support, and that there will be an empathy. The Dalai Lama always spoke about empathy, and there wasn't enough compassion and empathy in the world. And I think right across the world at the moment, all leaders are talking about health, and they're talking about truth. And there's a calling to healing and truth. And I think if we can use those as a great basis to build a beautiful temple of compassion, of empathy, and of genuine care for one another, it will have been a time well spent. And also aware of the amount of people who have been in relationships. I do a lot of relationship soul counseling. And I just feel for people, because I feel a lot of people have been putting up with him or putting up with her for years, because he goes to work for 12 hours, so I can potter around the house, or I could do my own thing, or I have the girls over, or she goes off to work and so do I, so I only have her in the evening for a few hours. And now all of a sudden that's all changed. Or the guy who was so cool, who brought in all the money and left with the briefcase in the morning, is now in the back room making the same sandwich as you on the same social welfare payment, because the veil has come down.
Yeah.
So the power structures are changing. The pubs are closed. I cannot imagine the horror that is for some people, both the person who wants to go to the pub and those who got a reprieve when somebody else was at the pub. Also the people who used to change personality when they came in from the pub, maybe that's brought goodness into the home. Maybe that's not happening. Or maybe there's, because of not working and not having focus, there's drinking going on morning, noon and night in a home. And for children who are sexually abused, school was a safety net. And that's gone. So there's these incredibly massive, as Elena was saying, bubbles coming to the surface for so many people. And some people, it will take the extension of the so-called lockdown to say, I don't deserve this. This is no longer acceptable to me. And this is no more. This shall happen no more, not one more time. This is my unacceptable, and I cannot make this acceptable because it's not my truth. And in order to heal for this, and in order to become whole, and in order to live some kind of a life for myself, I have to look at this. And sometimes at a soul level, I feel like we've all come in at this totally differently. For anyone who doesn't know me, I read the Akashic records, so I open the book of life for people and look at the story that you are destined to live. I feel a lot of people who haven't been working in the last number of weeks probably came in with a soul contract that said, at some stage when I'm down here, can I have time out just to look and see, am I doing the right thing, how this is going? And then there's been other people who said, no, I won't need that. Don't put a pause button. So they've ended up being the truck drivers, the frontline, the people on building sites who have been able to continue, and they haven't needed that time out. So we're all coming at this from very different angles. But I do think that the soul has an ability to align with itself. So it will course correct. Mm-hmm. And sometimes if anybody tonight or today, I'm in Ireland and it's very late, but you may be listening to this on the replay, or you may be with us at daytime in Australia. If you're feeling today, I really don't know whether I can take anymore. I really don't know whether I can walk the walk for another day. I don't know whether I can pretend. I don't know what I'm going to do with the eggshells because they're beginning to feel like glass. Take note. There's a deeper voice speaking. And for some reason, it's coming up so glaringly obvious to you because you know in truth, this isn't love. This isn't the lighter, brighter side of life. And this, regardless of the pain that you may feel will come in the next mission, it cannot be deeper than the glass feeling of walking and threading on what you're living. And as your sister, I'm sorry you're going through this. I'm sorry this world has asked you to endure what you're enduring. I'm sorry. And I hope and I pray that you'll find the courage, that you'll find the people that will be brought into your life to move you to where there is grass greener on another side, and where real love and proper connection can exude you, lift you, rise you, and set you where your heart was always supposed to be, into a space of real love. And I pray for courage for you.
Julianna,
And
you're going to make me cry. It's so beautiful.
Mm.
So beautiful. And I do feel for a lot of people out there who don't have a great home life at the moment. But I just want to move to a topic that I think will be really heartwarming for a lot of people watching today, and for us to share what is some of the things that we have seen that's going on in the world that has been like things like Captain Tom. What other things have you seen that have been going on for you in your local community that is giving people hope that we are going to come out of this on the other side to a better world? So what have you seen, Heather, in your local community, in your life experience?
There's a great community engagement around where I am. People are just helping each other out, where I think Anzac Day was a great example of everybody coming out in their driveways at 6 o'clock or on their balconies. There's talk that they may even continue that, getting people to do that because of there was just so many people in every street. Just walking around the area where I am, I've never seen so many memorials, or every house had poppies and everybody had done so much. There's just everyone's being kind and considerate. And we're just helping each other out, speaking to people more, I think, because everyone's out more, and considering other people. I think the reaching out, when you reach out, you give others permission to reach out as well. And a lot of people sort of see it as really difficult to do, but if you're reaching out to someone, helping them, they're reaching it out. It's a whole domino effect. It's random acts of kindness that's still happening, which is so wonderful. Just like the dropping off of food at people's doors, or notes in envelopes. Little children the other day were standing out the front with their mum, and they'd collected all the frangipanis from their tree. So everyone that sort of walked past was getting, you know, some little frangipanis. And it's almost like we're getting back to the basics. We're sort of, just enjoying life, simple pleasures. As much as there's a lot of tough stuff going on, you don't have to sit in it on your own. I have a friend who we were talking to last night. She's loving this. She's loving what's happening. She is doing more sewing and crocheting and painting and everything. And she said, I don't like people anyway, so I'm happy to, are you all right? Are you all right? All right. So like everyone was saying, there's two sides to this, and we need to allow everyone to sort of handle it the way they need to. But I mean, if there's only one message I can share, is reach out if you need to, whether that's for help or to help somebody else.
Yes, random acts of kindness. We have a beautiful neighbourhood here. I live in a cul-de-sac, and I haven't chatted more to the people in our street than over the last 6 weeks, and especially a lot of them are elderly, and one of them in particular is on her own, and she's been bringing over home-baked goods. She's so good.
Wow.
I returned the favour. I don't know if she got the raw end of the stick, but, you know, we'll get every few days a knock on the door, and she's baked a dozen homemade rissoles or a dozen homemade sausage rolls. So I'm loving this. Extra.
How does she feel too? I mean,
She normally cooks for her grandchildren that come up from Sydney to visit. So, yeah. What about you, Elena?
Much of the things that the others have spoken about, I noticed that I live on the Gold Coast, and I'm a nature lover, so I'm walking most mornings, and one of the local shops decided to open a little coffee shop as I suppose a money-making thing for them. However, it's right on the waterside, and I don't think they realized when they were doing it that it was going to be a community stop. Because what happens is everyone stops now with their dogs and their cup of coffee, and we've got circles happening where people are talking around this coffee. So it's become one of the most beautiful community connections that have happened. And when I was talking to these friends of mine in Austria last night, I was just happening to say to them, oh, you've got honey in the back there. You know, I'm looking at them intently, but I'm seeing these rows of honey behind on the screen. And Peter says, oh, yes, I'm a beekeeper. I make my own honey and I pray and send healing to the bees. So they insisted in sending me a few jars of honey. So I'm now, you know, I'm looking forward to the honey they've been zapping it with their healing energy every day to the bees. And then you've got other people who are doing, you know, the TikTok, Facebook, social media, and making people laugh with these crazy, crazy things, because their whole intention is to bring joy to people. So I'm thoroughly enjoying. I mean, somebody brought me biscuits, but then their comment was, well, we knew you wouldn't cook them, so we decided to cook them for you. And so people are coming out and reaching out in ways and paying things forward. You know, I'm finding, as much as I'm on the other side where I'm aware of all the challenging times people have got, we have a world of duality. So as well as that, we've got this other side that people are coming out of the woodwork and making an effort to help other people. So I honestly believe that we are moving through a time that, as we become more peaceful on the inside and clear up the stuff that's unresolved and have the courage to not tolerate certain family conditions or relationships, bringing to the surface that we are coming to the authentic, truthful people that we were born to be, souls that are here on a mission. And I'm excited about how things are going. I do understand what Julianna J was saying about, you know, the support systems that we need to, if we are aware of them, to keep an eye if we're intuitively feeling that someone else is in danger in their homes. These are the sorts of things that we can do to help each other. And even just this panel, you know, I feel quite excited that my intention when I come onto this is, if I can touch one person with something I say in the hour, then I feel like my role on this panel is worthwhile. Obviously, I'd like to touch more, but just one person that says, yes, I'm going to have the courage to step out and be the real me, then I think it's great.
Thank you, Elena. And what about you, Julianna J? What's some beautiful things that you've been seeing in your community over there in Ireland?
Well, I live on a country road, so I've been really lucky in that we had a 2 kilometre distance until tonight. So that 2 kilometre walking distance, I have never had as many chats with people. So I'm walking with so many people at the same time, and it's like doing a marathon of life. You have somebody for a few steps and somebody else for longer steps, and everybody's keeping their distance, but great conversations, great camaraderie going on. I love the fact that every morning I wake up to funny videos. I have no idea how we're so blessed to have so many funny people in this earth, but they are funny. Their words are funny. The things they think of are funny, and they make me laugh. I think the hairdressers are just really going to be in for it when this goes away, because the madness that's going on with hair and the humor around hair and what's ahead of us, it's just very comical. So I love the humor that's going with this. I think there was a time only a few weeks ago where you'd meet somebody in a social gathering and it was nearly like, how busy are you? And how busy are you? Are you busier than me? And there was a whole glorification of how busy we all were and how amazingly busy we all were. And we were so busy, we were so stressed. It was actually a bravado moment. Now you meet people and you know they're doing nothing. So that's all gone. So now it's, how are you? Are you surviving? What mad things happen? And if you share something about the kids driving you up the wall, you're their best friend, because that's where they're going to. So you're having very real conversations. And I love that, because I have no interest in having silly conversations that are false. So there's a great shifting I think we're all in that shift together. No one's life is going tickety-boo at the moment, if you understand the phraseology. I really get Elena and myself are quite similar. We're high-functioning empaths. And I never knew I'm an introvert as much as an extrovert. I've only discovered her in the last few weeks. I would never, ever have put myself into the introvert category, but the time out is great. So now I value people who are more like me. So there's great humor and great peeling back and great, there's just great humor going on and great songs and people not taking themselves too seriously. And I think that's great.
Yes. Laughter is so important, so healing.
What was that?
Laughter is so important. It's so healing. And I think some of those videos that people are putting out, they've created or they're discovering a talent I don't think they realized they had, and they're just so brilliant. I hope they continue.
Yes, what would we do without our sense of humour, hey?
Exactly.
Drive ourselves up the wall. So what else do you guys want to talk about today? I know I just want to acknowledge that we've got quite a few people tuning in from around the world. I know Miranda Powell is here from States. We've got Marsha Schultz watching, January Brooke, Rosalind Marshall, Terry Barhat, Claudine Defrew, Cassie Solomon, Stephen Best just saying hi to you guys. That's a cousin of mine, so you never know who comes out of the woodwork. Anaya, Vicky Doolan, Marguerite McMahon. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching, and please share this broadcast if you feel it will benefit somebody. I'm sure it will give them a bit of peace of mind, maybe give them a new perspective about what's going on in the world right now, maybe give them some love and support, as we said. So we've got a few minutes left, ladies. Is there something else you want to share for today, or give a message of hope or love or support that you want to send out to our viewers today? Heather?
Look, I think it's what everyone said too. We're not alone. We're all in this together. Yeah, look, you may be struggling, and if you are, reach out, and because others are as well. If you can just remember you're not alone in this. And yeah, there is light. We're going to come out of this. We're going to be, so different and have developed an inner strength that we probably didn't realise we had, resilience, as we all talk about. But yeah, the courage to step up. And I mean, I think we've had enough time to really be clear now on what it is we do want and what we will and won't put up with. And what is okay and what's not okay, and set up better boundaries in our lives. So our lives can only, be different, be better, grow from all of this.
And what about you, Elena? What's your final message for today?
That don't be aware that as you let go of certain people or experiences, you might be alone for a little while, but what you often find is the fact you're popping into it. If you could see life as bubbles, and you're in this bubble, and these were the right people and the right situation for where you were then, and now you're popping into another bubble, and by being courageous about being authentic, you'll find this most extraordinary way of how, like a magnet, energetically, all the right people for this next bubble will come to you. And so life isn't necessarily going to be, oh my goodness, I'm losing these people, because you're going to find a whole new group that were part of your soul family that were supposed to be with you at this moment in time. And so by taking the risk and being the real you, you'll be surprised how much you'll flower. You'll be surprised how much joy that really is waiting inside you to share with people around you.
Thank you. And Julianna J?
God, that was a lovely message. Thank you. I think, wouldn't it be lovely to say that 2020 was the year that we remembered that we came here as creators, that we came down here to co-create with the universe, but to do that in ways that use our senses, in ways that leave a footprint of who we were, be it in the knitting that we do for a grandchild, or be it in the cakes that we cook for our neighbours, be it in the words that we share in our poetry, be it in the song that we sing, be it in the garden. Because I think we've been just given an opportunity to step in to being that great creator. And given the time, for a lot of people, they're actually paid to sit at home and to try and to play and to be. And I think it's a time that for the next week or two, because I think we are coming to some level of an end of this, I'd appeal to you, don't miss the pause button. Give yourself permission to try, to doodle, to write, to create, to colour in. Because you may look back in many years to come and say, that was a time where I got time out time and I played in the playground of life, in my home. And they are some of the memories that I'll treasure of the people I lived with, those who came in and connected with me, and those who showed me love as I tried to make things, create things, just to be me and the madness of it all.
Thank you, Julianna J. I know for a lot of people, they are using this time, to sit and reflect and find out what they truly want and who they are and all that sort of stuff. I know, especially for my children, out of work, they're looking at what else they can do to reinvent themselves and upskill themselves. My daughter's just taken up photography and she's going out and photographing, her friends from a distance and her family, and she's just absolutely loving that. So there are so many courses, and whether that's through TAFE or just online courses, so many virtual meetups that we can all be a part of. And you just never know. You think you're going to do a course. It's like when you go to an event, you think you're going to an event to listen to a speaker, and then you sit next to some amazing person that just happens to change your life. So just be open-minded right now and look around and ask, what are the courses I could be doing to upskill myself, so when I come out the other side, I will have all of these brand new connections that I never knew I had before. And they, doesn't matter if they're not blood related, they can end up being the best family you've ever had, because they have got similar beliefs and values, and at a soul level, we are all family. But to find our family, I think to go out there and just do courses, attend virtual meetups, and just, you never know who you're going to connect with and the difference that they're going to make in your life. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Julianna J, for joining us all the way from Ireland. Thank you, Heather Jones and Elaine Massie, our panel experts. We will see you next week, everybody. Our guest next week will be Donna Ferguson from Unique Vibrations. We thank you so much for joining us, and remember to go out there today and pay it forward and make somebody else's day make them feel loved and supported, whether that's a phone call, dropping a letter in their letterbox. I love that one, Heather. Dropping a meal off, or just sending out some love in a message. So thank you, everyone. Have an amazing day. Sending you all lots of love and hugs.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Juliana. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Elaine.
Great to be here.
Bye.
Bye.